We up and running on Zoom? Okay. Good morning, everyone, in person and on Zoom. If you're in person, we have breakfast in the back. Healthy yogurt and unhealthy. If you're on Zoom, you have to make your own breakfast. So you should come here next time. We just love seeing your faces. So, okay, cool. Take us to the first slide. We are still collecting gift cards for our holiday gift card drive. We have one more week on next Monday. I have to turn them all into the school district. So we need a lot more gift cards. There's 117 families that need help. So even if we can get them each like a $20 or $25 gift card, that is the difference of a Christmas present or not for a lot of these families. So Target, Walmart, Fred Meyer, really can be anywhere, $20, $25 increments. But please bring them in. Thank you. Catherine Donahue just brought us in a bundle. So thank you for that. And let's keep it going. But I do have to bring them all to the school next week. December is one of those months that goes by really fast. So
it is flying.
Yeah. Bring them in, help the kids. Okay. Buyer's Agent Masterminds, there is one today, right after this meeting. And that is not a super structured agenda, right? More just like conversations around what's going on, right?
Yep.
Led by you guys, you two, you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Sure. Yeah. Hopefully led by you guys. Bring a topic. No, the idea is just to get together and talk about changes in the marketplace and how we're going to address them.
Right. And in a more conversational way, and then to help with conversations.
Yeah. I think the theme is like, how do we get buyer representation driven sign? I think that's kind of the point.
Well, and how to prepare.
Yeah.
Cool.
How to prepare for the change.
Mr. Gallagher is in the house. We are blessed. This is a good day. Okay, next slide.
I would have wore a tie.
We have a great class tomorrow. Cameron, come up here and say hi to everyone on Zoom. I know, don't kill me. This is taught by Dwight and Cameron, and it is tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And this is analyzing real estate investments. So people ask this all the time. Should I buy a commercial investment property, a residential residential investment property? So Cameron and Dwight are just going to be running through the numbers, right?
Yes, we're excited.
Say
It'll
something
be
to get
1
everyone
hour,
excited
and
about
it'll
it.
be a lot in 1 hour.
Yes. What's better than one Schwab? Two Schwabs, right?
I don't know about that. But there is a lot of information, and we are going to go fast. We decided because we do want to get through all 4 of those.
And you're going to be running through real scenarios,
Three.
real numbers, right?
Yes, single
Cool.
family, multifamily, single tenant, triple net, and
Multi-tenant,
maybe if we get to multi-tenant.
if we can get to it. Yeah.
And we will be offering a CE credit.
Ooh,
And
yes.
CE credit.
Really?
Yeah, Kelly figured out how to do it. So now we can offer
And
them
I
for
think there's a good
for
chance
classes.
we're going to go over.
ourselves. Yes. Oh, over the time.
I think so.
Nope.
Yes. Yes.
I got another one that's starting and
It was originally going to be on Thursday
Mhm.
at 10, and there was a conflict because there is a PMAR luncheon, an installation luncheon on Thursday where our very own Tony Kelly is getting installed as the president. So we are going to go support him. So we changed the class to Wednesday, tomorrow at 11. So day and time change. Okay.
But here, right?
But
Yeah,
right
right,
here,
right
same
here.
place, everything, this room, be here, be square,
That's good.
should be really good.
It will be really good.
We didn't want to smash it into too tight of a time frame, in case people did have questions after, or in case it went a little long too. Okay, then we have our holiday party coming up next Friday. Can you believe it? So, register if you haven't already. But come, bring your significant other, and it's at Bricks in Tualatin at 7 p.m. And you have drink tickets and holiday cheer and lots of food and fun. What else? December birthdays. We have Robbie on Christmas Eve. I know. I'm going. I'm going to go younger this year. Like what is it, Benjamin Button or whatever. Bonnie was yesterday. Happy birthday, Bonnie, and Laura in a couple of days. So happy birthday to all our December birthdays. Mike Campbell from Homefront. Let's give Mike a little round of applause. But Mike, tell us about what is going on.
Slide in, Mike.
We saw lots of social media posts about the jumbo loan limit increasing.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a staple of the loan officers. It's
Yeah.
actually, we mock each other. Oh, beware, here come the memes.
Right.
So that's a good sign for sure as well. Rate wise, we have we've seen some continued drops, which has been fantastic.
Mhm.
When I started about a month and a half ago, we were at 8.25. I checked today, we're at 7.375. That's a positive
That's,
thing, obviously.
that's actually a lot. in a
Yeah.
month.
So a lot of extra buying power there. Q2, we're going to see significant easing in rates. They have about 4 rate drops that we're looking at about a quarter for each one
That are like already kind of
already,
scheduled.
and we
Oh.
hopefully get more than that
In Q2,
in Q2. Yeah, starting Q2.
April, May, June.
Right.
Just when things will be ramping up.
Yeah, it's gonna be good timing.
So if we get to 6% before then there's 4.
Yeah,
That'd be crazy.
that would be crazy. That
They
would be,
might be dropping as fast as they raised it, which would be good for our industry.
yeah, and they're looking at another 4 in 2025 as well. So I know that's a little bit further away, but
But
That's
still,
cool.
something to look
That's-
forward to.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's great.
That's good news.
Looking at, we had a midday reprice today, already rates went down an 1/8 in points. So that's a good thing as well. So we're staying steady. How long is it going to continue? Nobody knows, but we'll hopefully continue this course.
The right direction. And I mean, a whole like percentage point in
Yeah.
a month. I mean, that's real.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. Cool. So remember, Mike is in the office. If you guys have any questions for Mike,
Scenarios,
still
anything you
doing
guys
a lot of like 3-2 buy downs
Right.
and
2-1 buy down.
1 buy downs and
Still a staple.
okay.
Yeah, take advantage of it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mike.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks,
Appreciate
Mike.
We
you.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just remember that the bank, when they say the bank is lowering rates, that's the rate they charge other banks. Mortgage interest rates are based on what investors think is going to happen with the economies and inflation. So mortgages are closely tied to the 10-year, and the government is regulating the interest rate between the banks. So just watch the 30-year, because the 30-year could be lower before they ever decide to lower the rates that they charge the bank. Right. And so, I think it's highly likely we're going to see them down in the 6s before we get to the Q2, which would be nice.
Love
We're
it.
not that far away.
Right, not at all.
And the economy, except for Christmas, the economy's been slowing down.
Awesome. We are going to talk to some of our agents today, our top agents, about success in 2024 and things we're doing now. But before we get to that, Kelly is going to talk to us about an addendum for something you saw out there.
So exciting, an addendum.
0
Yeah, I don't know if
for
you
when
guys,
there's no commission.
right, so I don't know if you heard, but RMLS is now allowing 0% commissions in their listings. And so that could affect your business. And it made me think about, actually, one of you all emailed me yesterday and said, hey, if I see one of these, what should I write? And I immediately thought OREF has a form called the seller fee agreement. But as I read through that, that's more for an unrepresented seller. And so I thought, well, let's do something that actually fits and works and makes you guys look professional and also doesn't have a bunch of gaps in it that we would be concerned about. So I wrote something out yesterday. Okay, so I broke into 3 different parts. One to deal with the compensation first. So sellers shall pay an amount, which is a percent of the purchase price at closing, to buyer's agent real estate firm in the form of a commission for professional real estate services provided by buyer's agent. This right to compensation shall also apply if, prior to closing, buyer transfers or assigns buyer's rights and responsibilities under this agreement to a third party approved by seller. Okay, next. Agency disclosure. Now, I added this because it was in the seller's fee agreement. And yes, on the offer, our agency stuff is already spelled out. But given everything that's going on, I think maybe an over disclosure in agency is probably a good idea. So seller acknowledges buyer's agreement is not and will not act. Seller acknowledges buyer's agent is not and will not act as a seller's agent or otherwise act on seller's behalf in regards to the sale of the property. Seller understands and agrees in all matters involving the property. Buyer's agent represents only buyer. Additionally, sellers understands buyer's agent will act solely in the best interest of buyer, subject to those legal obligations of the seller, including honesty, good faith, and as may be imposed under Oregon law. And then the third piece of this is dispute resolution, because if you look at the sale agreement, it doesn't actually deal with a dispute between an agent and a seller or an agent and a buyer. It only deals with disputes between agents and between buyer and seller. It doesn't actually have a caveat in there for that. So any claim or dispute with regards to the buyer's agent compensation described above shall be resolved in accordance with the mediation arbitration processes described in section 42.2 of the sale agreement. And if applicable, the prevailing party will be entitled to the award of attorney fees, filing fees, costs, disbursements, and mediator arbitration fees and provided in that section. And that last part's very important because the mediation arbitration really adds the lawyer fees add a real threat to the losing party to pay more than what they were going to have to pay anyways. Because the seller could just say, "Oh, I'm not going to pay you," and then you spend a bunch on lawyer fees just to get back just to give the lawyer what you would have got back anyway. So that's a really important part of this. If you're using this form, and I will have this language in our Google Drive in the next day or so.
And we'll post it on a link on the Facebook group.
Yeah. Well, I could do the addendum. I just don't know where it would live. Is a problem. I mean, we could put it in the Google Drive, and you could upload it and fill in the rest of the blanks on it, but it doesn't work as seamlessly as whatever app you're using. So if you have a couple options, you can create a template with the wording I have. I can also upload the addendum, and you can fill in all the blanks manually in DocuSign, which is a little bit tedious, but we can do that as well.
And would you put all of this language into one addendum?
Next slide.
Oh, look at that.
Great question.
Yeah. So word to the wise though, if you're using like a condo sale agreement, the number 42.2 at the bottom will be different because they fluctuate. If you're using a new sale agreement, it will fluctuate as well. So don't just, I will try to make one that fits every single sale agreement that we use for the ORAF forms. But in the meantime, don't just use this on a condo sale agreement. I think you're covered because it's a little bit off.
By the way, you want to change solid and sale agreement on.
Is there?
Yeah, like
Awesome. Typos.
Kind of like salsa.
Typos. It wouldn't be my document if there wasn't one typo. So there we go. Cool. Any questions about this?
I feel like this might be better talked about in the mastermind, but
Perhaps.
more
Yeah.
some of the like practicing the skill set around deliver. Like, at what point would you want to have this conversation? And
This would be part of your offer. Like, I think you would, if you're trying to make the seller pay a full commission or your commission rate that you have agreed to with the buyer, then I would make this part of my offer. You would be too late to do it after the fact. As I think through this, a couple things you want to think about. Probably want to already have a buyer's representation agreement before you use this, because if you are asking for a specific commission amount and somehow your buyer doesn't get the property because you asked for more than what the seller was going to offer, and you didn't have anything already stating that you were owed that amount, you could find yourself in a code of ethics spot. Maybe I could see a situation where that could happen, where the buyer could look at you and go, well, you wanted, 3 and they were only willing to pay 2. And now I can't buy this house. Why did you put that number in there? So I think you want to have a buyer representation agreement before using this. And then also, I think you might have to be prepared and this is forever. I mean, this is something that we're going to have to deal with. If the commission amount that you're being paid is different than what the seller's offering and what the buyer's offering, you could find yourself in situations where you're negotiating this commission all the way through the transaction. Like at the presentation of a repair addendum, the seller may sure they say, yeah, I'm happy to do that. Take it half a point off your thing. Or the buyer may say to you, yeah, I'd be happy to accept that credit amount. I'm only gonna pay you half a point less, something like that. So things we should be prepared to deal with in the future.
Yes. And Kelly put this together to talk about today because an agent called him yesterday with this actual scenario. So it's to make sure you're looking at the buyer's commission and just paying attention to things.
In that scenario, was it a builder?
No, he saw the email. There wasn't a scenario yet.
Oh,
He was looking forward to it, wanted to be prepared. Smart agent, right? We all want to be prepared. We don't want to be dealing with this in the last minute, trying to pull this up at the last minute, not prepared with how it's going to work, how you're going to present it. Yeah.
And then you should also note this addendum in the sale agreement.
Absolutely.
Because they can actually not sign this.
Yeah. Exactly. You'd want to have this listed in as addendum, whatever, part of the sale agreement. Yep.
Good.
Although it's presented with the sale agreement and it has a number on it.
Has anybody seen a zero yet?
When did they make it?
I heard about it
11?
yesterday for the first time,
Okay.
but I
It
have,
ju- RMLS just changed.
but some builders, I have seen some builders going to flat fee. I also have a flat fee version of this where you're just asking for a specific amount. But I have seen builders, who is it? I can't remember what builder it was, but they have a different, like, it looks like they're changing their commission structure based upon how long the property's been on the market. So something that just came on, I think they're having it's like less than like 2.5, and then it creeps up as it stays on the market a little bit longer.
Mm.
I saw the first resale with flat fee just 2 days ago.
Yeah, what was the flat fee amount?
It was $15,000.
Yeah.
Flat fee before I think $900,000.
Mhm. I think there's gonna be realtors out there that are gonna use this change in how we do business to get more listings, because they're gonna be competing against somebody who's saying, I'm gonna list your house for 5%, and they'll say, oh no, I'll actually do it for 3.5, and you just pay 1% of the buyer's agent.
Or you could say you could offer 1% to the buyer's agent. That's not what you're gonna pay.
Yeah, right. Offers are right. Yeah. Well, who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Everything's an offer. Right?
Mhm.
Who knows? So anyways, didn't mean to take the air out of the room, but we have to be prepared
I
for the
know, we're
stuff,
like-
right? Like, yeah, you just got to be prepared for this stuff, guys, because you'll be fine. You just got to be prepared for it. You got to face it head
Right.
on.
Okay.
Yeah,
You know,
so
the
put your
other
head-
side of this is if you don't have a buyer contract with someone and you get them involved in the house accidentally, or they get it and they lead you there, and you write an offer on it and the seller isn't paying any compensation, you have no contract with that buyer that you'll even be paid. So then you got to scramble and figure out, once they're in love with the house, how they're going to pay you your commission. And that's going to be one of the hardest things you'll do in your career, is trying to get someone to agree to pay you 10 or 20 or 30,000 after they have a signed agreement on the house. They won't do it. So, and you can't sue them because you have no document that says that they owe you a fee. You did it with the hope that they would honor an agreement to pay you 2% or 2.5% or 1% or 1.5%. And then when they get the home, the answer is, well, I paid more than I wanted to, or the repairs were more than we thought they would be, or the rate is higher than we thought it would be, right? And so
Or anything that makes them pay you,
Yeah.
that they
anything that they could
once
use.
once it all becomes real, right?
Yeah, so
I
it
think you
should,
might just describe too large a percentage of the agent population.
well, it has to change real quickly, right? We have to start using these agreements
Mhm.
because they'll have the teeth for you to get paid if you sell a house.
Yes.
But if you're reading the writing on the wall, guys, like, you should be focusing your business on listings. Like, how can I get more listings? So you're in control of how much money you make. That way you take control of your income. If you're like gonna be like solely based on buyers, if that's your business plan is to sell to more buyers and sellers, you're gonna find yourself chasing these things around. You could find yourself chasing these things around, but if you have a listing, it's in writing, you know how much you're gonna get paid.
Yeah.
So have a listing-based business, especially with what we're just talking about with rates. If rates come down, like we're thinking at the beginning of next year in the spring, when the market heats up, if you have listings, you're gonna be killing it.
Yeah.
Killing
If
it.
you have listings and buyer agents agreement with anyone you can find.
Yes.
So fine tune your buyer agents agreements and those presentations. It's like anything else. The more you do it, the more you're going to learn how to fine tune what you say and when you say it and the scripts that you use. So
They got
Yeah.
scheduled on the 12th to share my buyer presentation.
the 12th of December.
Mhm,
Yeah.
it's on the calendar.
It's on the calendar.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll be.
As a listing agent, do you think we'll be contacted by unrepresented buyers?
100%.
often? And so how do we approach that?
You approach it with your seller beforehand. So you say, because I do suspect that will be a thing. I think buyers will be thinking, even now you get it now, buyers think they're going to get a deal by calling the listing agent, right? But as a listing agent, you're going to represent them. Like they say, we don't want to be represented, but you're going to end up representing them. And so you should be paid for it because your risk is not going to double, it's going to triple by representing both sides of the transaction, right? So you should be compensated for it. So I think the conversation starts with your seller. It's like, if I represent the buyer, then I'm gonna expect to get this.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that
And that would be,
conversation-
I would say that would be a good topic to talk about more.
Yeah.
At Mastermind, and
Yeah.
just, like dig into some of the
Yeah,
conversations.
so we get into the panel.
Yeah, let's get to our agents.
Nice
Stop
way of saying
talking.
it. Sorry, guys.
That was a nice way of saying. No, I am excited because we have some of our most successful agents here to share. So come on up. You guys might get out of here.
I get out of here.
You might get out of here.
The nice to see you. Keep coming.
I know. With love. No, we're so, this is a good lineup today. Okay, so we have Crickett Forsey, one of our most loyal police agents here. That's nice way to say it. Most successful. Then we have Nic Wilson and Andrea, and they joined us a couple months ago from Cascade House. So if you haven't had a chance to meet them, wave to everyone. And then we have the lovely Donna Ellison and Liz Balderston from the Ellison home team. And they do a lot of business out of Canby. This is a good lineup today, you guys. Can't say enough
We
nice
squeeze.
things. Can everyone let me just see, are we all in the Zoom shot? Yes. Okay, so I want to talk about, I know. you can tell mine. I want to talk about what you guys are doing now to set yourself up for 2024, right? Like Mike talked about, rates might go down. So let's start with you, Crickett. What do you do for like business planning, goal setting now to set yourself up for 2024?
Well, now for me, maybe not for you, now is end of October, November, December.
Yeah.
That's my now. And so what I do is business planning, and essentially that's going back and looking to see what happened in 2023. So I'm looking to see where my successes were, where my deals came from, where I made my money. And then the systems and programs that we had in there. And with that, I am able to know, okay, this is where my business came from. I am doubling down, or I'm staying with that, improving that. And I may jettison some other things that aren't working, so I
Yeah.
can focus on what is working. So some things that we thought I was going to get business from and I didn't, we're not going to focus on that. The things that we are getting business from, we're going deeper.
But you're tracking where your business comes from and the ROI on
yeah.
all of them.
No, not so much ROI,
Okay, but more like where.
because that's a lot of math.
Yeah.
But yeah, every deal I know where it came from.
Okay, great. Does that differ with how the market is now, like
No.
what you're doing?
No.
Okay, tell us more about that. You have such a good outlook on the market's ups, the market's downs, right? Like,
Yeah, they don't pay attention to any of it.
yeah.
There's always something good that's happening.
Mhm.
And I try, to not let any of it change what I do. I have what I do, what I'm good at, and that's what I do.
I love that. It's so easy right now to get distracted by the noise out there.
Well, I
right?
think that for me, just being a solo agent is like, I have learned what my superpower is, and I've
Mhm.
learned what what's the other word? What
Kryptonite.
kryptonite is.
No.
Yes. And kryptonite is always someone else's superpower. So I give my kryptonite to somebody else.
Ah,
I've identified what I love and what's good, and I go with that. And the things that I'm not good at, which is a long list. And Kaylee, who I wish she was here, is my kryptonite is her superpower.
That's
So
great.
that didn't answer the question, but
No,
also
but
I
that's still
stick with,
good.
I've got
Mhm.
things that I do every month, every year. And we, instead of going and adding things to it, we make those things even better and
That's
broader,
I love that.
deeper rather than wider.
That's really good. That's a lot. There was so many good things you just said in there. So I hope everyone got all of those things. That's good. Okay. Donna and Liz, let's go to you guys. What are you guys doing now, being like fourth quarter, to get ready for 2024?
So actually very similar. It's always great to hear from other realtors that you have respect for, because it's very similar. First of all, I always in third quarter, I'm working on our business planning for the next year, what we're going to be sponsoring, where our money's going, what's worked, what hasn't worked. So very similar, not new information there. That's just what we do at this time of year. That being said, because of what's going on in our market, also in agreement. It doesn't really stop us mentally. We just keep going with our clients, and the conversations are more extensive. And maybe we're not going to market right away with some of the listings. Maybe we're having multiple conversations, hand holding. It's what we've been doing for months now with a lot of our clients, whether it's resale or investment. And the good news is it's actually been a better opportunity to kind of cement those relationships and have it be so normal that we chat once a month, or we chat every other week, or we meet for coffee. I always have been very, very involved with my database. I'm not a dripper or a toucher, I'm a hugger. So I see my people, I talk to my people, we get together, we have events we invite our clients to, we have events that we invite specific clients to. We do a lot in our community. We've talked about that, and we just keep right on doing that. And it's was really noticeable this year because of our market changes. Some of our industry partners, mortgage brokers, inspectors, so many other people have been hurting, and we've seen that. So we've tried to pull them in. We have an opportunity in a magazine that we're in Canby to highlight some of those businesses. So we kind of dug deep to try to lift up some of our other business partners, which of course is good for the relationship long-term. So we're not doing too much different, I would say. We're doing exactly what we do, because what we do actually has been working in this downtime. The good news is, and I hope everybody's doing this, talking with their clients, if they haven't been ready, or insert reason, buyers, I won't find it on the other end, whatever that scenario is, those conversations and prepping. I mean, the news we're hearing right now is such great news. And I literally, we volunteered at a 5K in Canby on Saturday. I went in to have breakfast after 5 hours out in the rain and cold. And I had somebody come in and say, hey, we know you from Chamber. Can we talk to you? We want to buy a house in Canby. And so we start talking, and I had this conversation with this sweet woman who's moving up from Roseburg, because she was thinking she needed to wait until spring, summer. And I actually was able to educate her and her daughter on why now would be good if she can get to market in Roseburg and get up here before this mass rush, because she's going to be looking for the house that everybody's looking for. A single level ranch, easy maintenance yard. She'll be competing with first time home buyers. She'll be competing with all types of buyers just because of the price point. So a lot of what we're doing right now that's different is just deeper, longer conversations and explanations, and directing people to gather more information, because there's just so much out there. So much news, people read. I've not actually had one client ask me about commissions yet. I've had the discussion with one of my clients just because he's that guy, and we spitball back and forth, but I have not addressed that yet, but we're preparing for it. And we will be using buyer broker agreements, which we've never done before. My entire career, we've never done it, but we will be doing it. So we're mentally preparing ourselves for what's coming, because as Kelly said, it's whether we want it to or not, it's here. So what,
just again, not different for Q4, but everything's very personal, right? It's not just data points. It's not just the market's doing this or doing this. It's very personal for each individual person. And you make that happen. You're very, we're very local, hyper-focused on local. And so we know I live in Beaverton. She lives in Canby. I do the Canby events. I also focus on the high school that I'm tied to, my neighborhood. I'm in the HOA. I donate. I support the local businesses there. So just keep it very personal, hyper local, and just know what's going on in your neck of the woods.
And like we talked about, it's really in some ways easy for a small town like Canby. It's easy for me to be super involved and super seen and super known. I'm also competing with a bunch of amazing realtors in Canby. There are so many good realtors in Canby, some that have been there their whole lives and literally know everybody in the town, some that are newer, some from our office, and they're all good realtors. I really don't not enjoy working with these other realtors. So I never set out to be the whatever of Canby. I just wanted to do my business in Canby. And so the way that we do that is by partnering with people and showing up. And we have gained, I would say, a fair share of market in Canby because of those efforts. It's taken a couple of years, but you can do that even if you're not in a small town. You can do that, like Liz is saying. For her, it makes sense. Her kids have now graduated the high school, but she's still very involved. That makes perfect sense. We all have opportunities, cars, racing, whatever the thing is that you're passionate about. Get involved in that, because then I always say, I mean, it's cheesy. Everybody says it, but it's not work. I do what I love. I hang out with really good people all the time, and I get to sell real estate with those people.
That's such a great way to look at your business, right? I just heard an agent on like a national call saying like, oh, I'm having a hard time getting focused on lead gen. The phone just feels so heavy these days. And it's like, okay, well, get out there, do something that doesn't feel heavy, right?
Mhm.
That does fill
Get
your
off the
heart.
phone and, yeah, exactly, get out there, support a local coffee shop, a local vet. We partner with Fido, and there's some local companies in my neighborhood that help, that have barrels for donations, and so go visit companies and see what they can get involved in with you, what they can partner with.
They just invited us last week. We've been partnering with Fido for 4 years now, and we've been working with the Canby Adult Center. And the director invited us to come and speak. Because this is what she said to me. I see you do all this work. I see you bring all this food. I don't see you ask for anything. Some of these people are very wealthy and look for places to donate. Will you come and talk to us about Fido? So that's what we did. And then I had a lady approach after, and she was not only interested in helping out with Fido, but she said, at some point, I'm going to have to sell my farm, and I'd love to talk to you about that. So it's nothing, it's not rocket science. It's just, we are very, very consistent. We do the same events over and over again. We show up. I think we've missed one event in 4 years, and 2 of us were just really sick, but we are consistent, and we also donate. I mean, we put our money where our mouth is.
Yeah, within the community. That's great. Okay, Nick and Andrea, you guys just experienced your first KW business planning clinic.
Yes.
But what else do you do in Q4 overall to prepare for?
Ooh,
ahead.
a little bit of what everyone's talked about, maybe not as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
We do, so I look at my database and my leads every multiple times a year. I'm like always looking at my database, my CRM, because I want to know it. But a lot like Crickett, I'm looking at the end of the year minimum, because it's a lot slower. I can put more thought into it. I look at where my leads came from, and I'm a believer. I've heard you guys say it multiple times at different meetings, but the Pareto's principle, the 80-20 rule, I believe in it. I don't want to do the 80%. I want to do the 20% that gives me 80, 90, 100% of my business. And I don't want to do the rest of it. But it's hard to stay that focused sometimes, because I see something shiny and I want to try that. Should I start?
Many of us have that first.
Yeah. Let me do this thing. And even my wife has reminded me multiple times this year, like, where do your best deals come from? My sphere. Focus on my sphere. And that's, for me, that's what makes sense. So I have to reel myself back in and just say, you know what, most over 60%, 70% of my deals come from people who I know or have already done business with. Those are the people I should focus on and build everything else around that.
What do your client touches and your sphere touches look like? Like, do you already have that mapped out for 2024? Or are you in the process?
Okay, I want to piggyback on that and try to answer your question. Like what I've been doing this quarter is looking at those kinds of touches, and we've been trying to see how can we automate some of them, the stuff that goes in through their mail, like their physical mailboxes. How do we automate that? How do we make sure our newsletter is super regular? So then that frees up my mental space and my time to do the stuff she's talking about, the stuff that I want to do, that I enjoy, that puts me in front of my people, that helps me have those conversations. So I heard someone say the other day something about transactions. I think it was Kelly that said it, that you don't know about the transactions that are going to happen if you're not having the conversations. The conversions come from the conversations, and the conversations are around those community events, supporting local, being in your neighborhood, around your people. And then they always bring it up. They always ask. They always want to talk about it.
If people care about you, they want to know
Yeah.
how your business is doing, how your life is doing.
And then the second leg of like what I've been thinking about a lot lately is like, how can I bring value to people? So whether those are like my hot, warm people, my warm list particularly, what kind of value can I bring to them? And also like while I'm prospecting, because I try to prospect to open houses, that's like the way I'm a newer agent, and that's how I find clients. Is I've been thinking through in the last month, like what kind of value can I bring to a prospective client at an open house? So
that's so important, right? Especially
It's how I built my database.
yeah. And it ties into what we've been talking about too, with like even the buyer broker conversation of like, if you can't articulate your value, right, then those conversations are harder. And I love another thing you said about automating so that you can free up your time, right? Because
My
sometimes
thoughts on that?
yeah,
We put together an editorial calendar.
oh yeah, just
Tell
like
us more
in
about that.
like journalism world.
Yeah, exactly, because I didn't want to have to cut what was happening every month, so we want to talk about this month. And then it slows down, it's a week, let me think about it, blah, blah, blah. So we have an editorial calendar that covers all our stuff. And we work on it in January and all the mediums that we're hitting, and then it's all figured out. Something happens, so we change it, but yeah, so we have a 12-month editorial calendar. And it really helps you kind of figure out, this is what I want to talk about, this is my theme of this year. And you kind of have all figured out before January 1st.
Oh, that's so good.
That's great. Well, let's dig in on that a little bit more. So you have it you do the whole year, even if it changes.
Yeah, like this year I've got a theme and then you.
What's the theme?
The theme is a result of my dad passing. And then all the shit I've learned as a result of that, which is a lot. And so you talk about how you want to lead with a giving hand has always been my theme. It's like, okay, this is what I learned.
Yeah.
So it's real estate sort of, but it's always like giving people some information and it's a talking point. So when I see them next time, there's usually some questions or information. So you want to be an expert or information, but that's kind of my theme of this year. It's like, be prepared.
Yeah.
I mean, things I didn't know I needed to know. And I thought I knew, no clue.
Oh, see, and you're very knowledgeable, right? But it kind of ties.
I thought
into
I was.
what we were talking about last meeting. If you came, Justin's daughter was here about, doing different kind of classes and teaching people with other partners that are not necessarily in our industry, but aligning businesses, right? When there's deaths and bankruptcies and divorces, there's all those other people involved. And if you can provide that education to your clients. So now are you mapping out like social media touches? What else? Mail?
I'm an introvert. I don't like doing all the stuff that you guys love.
So you rock what you got.
Exactly. I just said to him, I said, you do you. Yeah. So that's not my thing. I do a few things. But yeah, so I have an email newsletter that goes out every month and people love it. We can track who opens it. They love it. We do a postcard. We call it POV, postcard of value, that goes out every month to our sphere. And then every quarter to our couple farms and social media.
Okay, cool. Okay, so
That's
that's an
all.
introvert way. Okay, that's a good way to do it. And then you guys do a lot of events. Let's talk about what do you have like going into next year? Do you know all the events you're going to do for the whole year pretty much?
We do. Yes.
Okay.
All of the events that have served us well, served our community. Again, I'm trying to grow the business in Canby because after moving there, I didn't really even think about real estate in Canby when we moved there. And then I fell so head over heels in love with the community and the people that of course we're going to sell real estate in Canby, but I'm still managing my business all over Portland Metro, which is a little bit complicated sometimes. So that's where the bringing clients in for small events and things like that, which we have one every other month. We always do things on a regular cycle to make sure that we're bringing all those clients in. And then most of the events that we actually support are in Canby and our community. And again, that literally was born from a love for the community and the people, not necessarily real estate. What has happened over time is I'm doing business with a lot of our owners and business owners. And I do have now a good client business in Canby from those events, but it truly started just from a place of, I want to get involved in this community. They're awesome. And our chamber's very, very active, which has been a great support as well. But we do a lot of different things kind of based on, so we have a set schedule of all the events that we do for the year that we all do. And we support FIDO every single month, every single paycheck. That's a given. We do that all the time. But then we're always open to a couple of different types of events that might support either Liz locally in Beaverton, or like you're saying, you try new things sometimes because you think, okay, maybe this is, well, okay. And we have tried.
They need to go to them the first year to see what it's like, and then you can be part of them the following year. And so you add that to your calendar.
Will you share some of the types of events that you guys do and participate in?
So we do, at my house, I host Bunko for our clients. It's not ladies only, but it's only ladies that come. Sometimes we have men upstairs smoking a cigar and drinking a glass of brandy, but it's the ladies and I cater it and we just raise money for FIDO. And everybody's played Bunko. It's not complicated. You basically just have a beverage, enjoy yourself and talk to new people. And people love it. They have a great time. We always raise at least a couple $100 for FIDO. So we do that every other month, and that people literally come, which when I first moved to Canby, I thought my people in Hillsborough aren't going to drive out to Canby, but they do because they love it. And we have prizes for them and we just love on them. We have a great time. And then we do the actual events that we do. We are every first Thursday. if you've ever looked at my social media, you'll see it all the time. It's actually this Thursday, and we are the street team in Canby. So we walk around and help people kind of figure out where they're going. There's always a treasure hunt, which restaurant, what are you hungry for? And we just kind of walk around town for a couple hours and direct people and spend time. We talk to the owners of the stores and things like that. And then for the major events, we do several. So we sponsor Hair Fest, which if y'all haven't, it's a blog, everybody should go. We have a massive response. I have already had probably 10 people reach out to make sure they get tickets from us, because we have a private tent. Like, it's fun. We have a great time. This year was 5 days of craziness out there. And then we live 8 blocks from Clackamas County Fairgrounds. So there's just a really great opportunity for events. And so we do the Hair Fest. We also sponsor Canby Rodeo, which is one of our favorite events, which is in concurrent with Clackamas County Fair. And we're one of the sponsors there as well. So what we're able to do with those sponsorships is bring in like 20, 30 clients that have a particular interest in rodeo, or just want to take their kids to the fair, or Hair Fest, which is for all the rockers in the room. And if you aren't one, you should be one, because it's the best music ever. So it's just, they're really kind of diverse events, and it allows us to bring in our clients that particularly want to go to those events.
Well, then this year, the Christmas events in Canby.
Yes. So we have Light the Night on Friday night, which we did not work. We just participated. It was fabulous. And then we were up at Zero Dark Saturday morning, and it was Christmas in Canby, and there was a 5K ugly sweater run. And they had events for everybody. Goats. We took a horse ride, carriage ride. I love Canby. It was so much fun. But we always sponsor, show up, participate in all of the main events that happen in Canby, which there are a lot of them.
Yeah, golf tournaments, chamber events.
Yeah, and I think that is so cool, because sometimes people think events, oh, I have to plan this elaborate, expensive event myself, but you can sponsor things, volunteer for things, right? And you guys really embody that community.
Well, and we do have like small private events for certain clients. Like I'll have dinners for clients, small groups, my top clients, my top 20%. We focus on them. And again, these are people that I'm in contact with on a regular basis. So we see them socially at their events. They invite us to their events. So we really make sure that we're paying attention to those, for me, the top 20%, but also every other client in the database, and the ones that aren't clients that might be one at some point.
Awesome. Okay, Nick, Andrea, what are you guys doing? Or do you have events planned for next year, or do you guys do client events?
We do. We have 2 solid events. I actually did my first event last year, and she was with me at the time. And so I came from a team. I've been on a team ever since I started real estate in 2015. And they always did events, and they just built on those. So I'm a believer in them. We do a client event at a farm in Aurora. We have clients out. We have donuts, cider. We give them, coupons to get food and do rides and stuff. And then a little trick I got from my child's orthodontist is we rent a movie theater out, and I did that last year for the first time. And we'll do it again this year because I just thought it was awesome. And then the whole concept behind everything he did. I mean, if you guys need advice on how to touch clients and do events, like follow a dentist or orthodontist, because they do it well. But they invited me. We had a meeting with them.
They need to lead gen too.
They do. He does great events. But they invited me before I was even a client, and so that's built. My philosophy's been built on that. I will invite people that aren't my clients if I know them, or if I've come across them at an open house, they wanted to share their information with me, whatever, they get invited.
Yeah.
And we let them like bring friends.
Mhm.
So like I had some people bring their friends, and then those friends needed to sell a condo. So I got to sell a condo. So it's a great way to just.
Well, there's no better person to speak to your abilities than that. Freshly, I just got my first place, and this person is the reason I'm in this beautiful home. So that's very smart.
Yeah, and then we're trying to add more. We're looking at lower cost ways, but I mean, to your point, like Bunko night at your house is an event. It's it works. It's a touch. It's a connection. It's a party.
Everybody lets their guard down a little bit.
Yeah.
And you have, I mean, I know all the people, we know all the people, but they don't all know each other, but we've had some friendships develop. And I also invite my escrow people. Like we invite, where I'm careful, especially with my lenders, because that can get complicated sometimes, but we do try to partner with our business partners as well. And even some of our vendors, because a year down the road, when they call and say, hey, which electrician should I call? Hopefully you're that resource for them. So we try to incorporate other industry people into the Bunko as well, and the other events.
I think that's a really good point too. It's like, it would be very hard to plan tons of big expensive events, right? So maybe you have a couple of those bigger events, but the smaller ones, like I've heard them called micro events too. Where you poker night or, bunko at your house or a ladies, wine night or whatever, it can be very low cost, or even teaching a seminar here, that doesn't hardly cost anything, right? You can do events that are not expensive, and put yourself out there. Okay, let's talk about what are there things that you guys have after reviewing your numbers and your lead generation source and things like that. What are you not going to do in 2024? Or maybe you did in 2023.
I personally probably going to slow down on online leads. I get them, I don't work them as well as I should. I don't have that knowledge or skill set. So I'm going to taper back off that and focus on my sphere. It's one of those shiny things that was out there that I thought I'd chase, but I don't think it makes sense for me.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think that as the market has changed, those leads have been harder to convert also. So if if you're looking at your ROI and tracking that, you might not have been seeing the ROI that you once saw on some of those. And, when you're looking at how you spend your time, right? Also, what's more fulfilling to you in your heart? Is it making cold calls or getting out within your community or sending cards to people you like? Doing something like that. That's a good one. What else are you going to not do or do less of?
I'm not going to use a buyer broker agreement.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might bring the first one because that's going to be a thing, but yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Anything?
I'm trying to think what I'm not going to do this year. Last year was a great year in many, many different ways. I grew in ways that I never thought. I was out of town a lot and had my best years ever. So I'm not going to not believe in myself. Not going to believe that I have to be in
the market is falling, right? I love hearing that. You have such good perspective of like the ups and the downs of the market and you can go on great vacations.
I was gone for probably 3 months.
That's incredible.
Clients didn't matter. I sold houses that I never walked in. I had people help show houses, attend open house, attend inspections for me. I don't need to be here all the time. And
that's great.
That limiting belief that I had to be the person to show you the house. I had to be in an open house or I had to be at the inspection. So I'm not going to tie myself down. I guess that's what's good.
Yeah. What vacations do you plan for 2024?
Annual to Cabo. I'm going on an amazing cruise with luxury cruise with friends of friends, and we are going to go through Athens and Turkey and all that in July.
So cool.
June. That's just the tour.
Yeah, but that's really important because one thing in business planning and all that says you want to go through and plan your vacations and your personal things in your calendar for the new year before you plan other things, right? Because you want to have a good life. And there's a lot of people that have that limiting belief of, in order
especially
to
solo agents,
I could never turn it off.
Yeah. You feel like I got to be here. I got to be here. It's me. I got to have a conversation. I think Zoom was one thing that we learned. We don't have to be there. Zoom, you can have Zoom meetings. There's a lot of great agents that could use a little check to go show a property and opening doors are great. I've got great feedback from people doing that. I don't need to show an agent on my team because there's lots of people out there.
I like
that I can leverage, and it works for everybody. So
cool. Okay, what are you guys going to do more of or add in 2024 that maybe did not do as much of in 2023?
More client touches, whatever it takes. So we've got a couple ideas. We have a robust list. I use Monday.com as like a management tracking system, and we just place all our touches for the month in there. But just from taking ideas, we want to add some maybe clothing drive stuff.
I want to add like 2 sort of like give back events, kind of around things that we already feel like passionate about, and it gives people a chance to like do good things, but a great way to interact with people, and hopefully it would be like a low cost event. So I want to do that twice. That's a goal of mine for the next year.
I heard an idea from another agent last year that his assistant goes in and makes reservations for like Valentine's Day, Mother's Day. And being a guy, I know how tough it is, especially working.
That is Good.
to plan ahead for my own family and wife. So
Mm-hmm.
our assistant will hopefully, and that's what I want to implement, call ahead and make reservations. It costs nothing. Then calling the guys, texting the guys, say, hey guys, you need last minute Mother's Day gifts. I got cards, roses, and a reservation. If you want, take it. If
Love everything about this.
Yeah.
This is
you
so
don't love
good.
it, we go and cancel, then not a problem, no cost. So
So good.
just things like that. We want to get creative.
That's great.
And that is like totally proof that you don't have to, it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be this expensive, elaborate thing, but something that's truly valuable.
I want to create opportunities where I'm engaging with people in whatever capacity I can, whether it be social media, text. If I see something on the street that reminds me of a guy that gave me something 5 years ago and I want to call him and text him, like anything that can just create that connection is what I'm looking for.
That's great. Okay, last topic I want to kind of,
What was the online tracking or the touch tracking?
Oh, it's any task management software, but I use Monday.com. I really like it.
it's a good like project management
Mhm.
software. Last topic is systems, processes, operational things. What are you guys making any tweaks to that for 2024?
That's always under construction.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, we have, team meetings, regular agenda tasks, that's not negotiable. Okay, it gets, but we have our weekly meeting and this is what we're gonna talk about. Every week.
What are some of those things?
Well, it got this big. And it started here, they got bigger, and now we've got it into 4 weeks, because we can't cover everything. We talk about our editorial calendar, our transactions, our top 20%, our top 20 people, marketing, closings, post closings, everything.
Yeah, so
Everything.
you just
And we
said,
track our numbers.
okay,
We track how many appointments we've had, what's our goal, what's our gap, appointments, buyers appointments, listing appointments, referrals. Escrow, we look at all our numbers. We've got a transaction spreadsheet that tracks all of that. So we know our numbers.
you said a lot right there that you know exactly what you're talking about every week of the month. You're keeping track of everything. You are improving your systems, but you have a lot of really solid structure there.
Yes, structure.
What about you guys? What do you do for like structure processes, or are you tweaking things for the new year?
Our team meetings are kind of
I just wrote down
loosey-goosey.
everything she said.
Yeah, loosey-goosey right now. So, and our admin assistant is kind of in transition. So, but in a perfect world, yeah, we talk about the closing transactions we have. That way we know we can forecast what closing gifts we need or anything we need picked up from a listing, recover lock boxes, flyers, drop off flyers, all things like that. We automate. I try to automate so much in terms of like I use list track through RMLS to touch my clients, and then I'll just add on to that with Zillow graphs or something like that. And then we talk about planning. We talk about what we want to do.
And for some systems, I feel like that we've been working on sort of streamlining is we've put a big effort into getting like a really good listing and buyers presentation. And we've kind of like taken materials and finally have gotten these kind of 2 final finished products. And I've got that are just kind of ready to go. And that's been a big thing. I think a big system thing that's helpful.
Yeah, sometimes those of us who are like the more shiny object people, it's harder to slow down, focus on the systems, the processes, but in order to really like break through to that next level, you have to figure out that. What about you guys, Donna?
I will tell you, this is not our greatest strength system. We're very intuitive as the 3 of us work together. We meet once a month, usually for a couple of hours and kind of go through everything, but and that's definitely kind of a schedule. We hit all the things. We sit down at the beginning of the year and calendar all of our events and all of our, vacations and things like that. We definitely have those systems, but as far as our systems that we have for tracking, we all kind of track, but we all do it a little bit differently. And we communicate probably daily. Anytime one of us is freeway driving, there's a phone call involved. So we're always communicating with each other. I mean, Hannah's my daughter, so that helps a lot. She lives 5 houses away from me. So we see each other often. We communicate all the time. We always know what's going on in each other's business and what's coming. But it's not as systematized as I would say it is intuitive.
And that's one thing that goes back to knowing your kryptonite.
It's not
And hiring for it. I've
Yeah.
decided personally, social media is my kryptonite. I hate it, but it's important. So I'm gonna hire it out. So that's just, so I don't have to have that stress.
Which is what I did last year, and Kayla is amazing. She does a great job with our social media. We've received quite a bit of business actually from the social media, but she does it.
Awesome.
Yeah. And you have to, you know, Andrea earlier talked about like clearing up that mental headspace, right? If getting that off your plate clears up mental headspace to excel in other areas, right? Then it's not an expense, it's an investment. back to
Agreed.
yourself.
And,
So
and a worth one, a
thinking
worthy
of that,
one.
those things.
I don't want to be rude, but I have to go.
Yes, that's okay.
I told Kelly, I said I could do this, but I have to be out of here at 11. I actually want to do a
11,
quick shout out for him. Can I do that?
Yeah.
So, because you took the air out of the room, I'm gonna put it back in. So what I love so much about Kelly is that you can call him any time of day, which I have. I don't call a whole bunch. Sometimes it seems like it goes in 2 or 3 at a time, but when I call him and when I've had this scenario play out where I'm just so irritated with this person that I'm talking to, and I know my gut on this, and I'm protecting my clients, and I think it's just really wrong, and I want to respond that way, but I also want to make sure I'm dotting my I's, crossing my T's, and not putting anything in jeopardy. And you call Kelly and you give him like half the scenario, and he's like, I wouldn't even return that phone call.
I love that.
I love you for that so much. Thank you for support. You always talk through things with us, and you always support us through difficult, challenging situations, but you also have a little bit of badass in you that I appreciate so much.
True. Thank you, Donna. We'll give you a round of applause. And he was like, Kelly, it's so funny. We were talking about presenting something to you guys, and it was like something that wasn't great. It's about like the market being down or like the risk of some of the buyer brokers. I was like, Kelly, can't we just like, when we present it, can't we just like try to put a little bit of a bow on it or like not make it sound so bad? He's like, it is what it is. And I'm like, okay. Like, can we just, a little bit? A little bit, but he does.
What you get is that's the name of the boat.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, thank you to our amazing panel. Give a huge round of applause. Here, I know. Yes, yeah. No, it's okay. Just okay. You don't have to come up. Just wave to everyone. This is Kristen. She just joined us from the XP.
My name's been all.
Yeah, we're happy that you're here. You snuck in the back. Just be on Zoom really quick, so they know you exist. Just wave really quick. But we're happy you're here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
You. All right, that is it for today. If you're sticking around for the mastermind, it'll be in here.
Here or the other room? I think we booked the other room.
You do
How
it
many
here.
people are coming to the mastermind? Show of hands.
I think lots. Just stay in here.
Okay, we'll stay here.
Okay. Thank you guys, and thanks.